Sentences about politics read in a newspaper while waiting for someone to come into an office. Triangles and pyramids seen on torn pages of old geometry textbook, which every tea shop in the country uses to wrap its snacks in. Bits of all Radio India news bulletin, things that drop into your mind like lizards from the ceiling. In the half hour before falling asleep, all these ideas, half formed and half digested and half correct, mix up with other half-cooked ideas in your head. And I guess these half-formed ideas bugger one another and make more half-formed ideas. And this is what you act on and live with. Take a look around you, everywhere you go, in this country and all around. The people who suffer the most are the ones who were not allowed the basic needs, the fulfillment of basic needs and human rights, which is education. Look around you. We're here in Lagos are denied their fundamental rights, while corrupt government officials, corrupt teachers, corrupt medical officers, all of us, our hands steeped into the cookie jar, stealing the things that are needed to provide a good environment for our children like Balram. But they grow and they turn into these people that we are afraid of. Balram is an area boy whose cunningness led him into the bigger society. But what happens when he comes in contact with rich people? They suffered along with him, but eventually, as he talks to us about his life, we saw how the slumdog landlords came around and deprived his family of their rights, of their lands, of their properties. Like I said earlier, in Rewa today in India, we're still reeling from seeing women half buried because somebody insisted that the land that they leased should not be for them. In our villages here in Nigeria and all around Africa, I think in Kenya, women, old people are being branded witch. But then again, like I promised, I'm just going to read excerpt because I don't even know what to tell you and what not to tell you. But first of all, before I forget, this book is so simply written. Like I said, it's a satire, and it is just something for you to dig yourself in. If you read further in the book, you see the case of the rooster coop, where poor people are subjugated to the extent where they do not even feel comfortable rising because they do not feel that they have any other hope, just staying where they have been pegged in. So I'm encouraging everyone to dig deeper into this book and find out some certain truths. And if you have a driver, there is a place where Balram describes his life as a driver, how he connives with the mechanics to make sure that they defraud you. And he says at some point that you find a mechanic that is going to support your ambition, and two of you will plan and tell your boss, Oga, this one has spots, we need to change hydraulic, my sister remember this, the hydraulic, contact, battery, all of this, they keep telling you that you have to replace. So those are some funny parts. The entire book is supposed to make you feel, empathize with this criminal to the extent where you know how culpable you are in not letting children or letting members of the society thrive. We know what we're going through in Nigeria at the moment, and it is a scary prospect because corruption has defrauded all of us of a certain kind of future. No matter the amount of money you have, one day, the streets will judge you. And I hope that when the streets will start its judgment, what are you going to say? Are you going to be guilty or not? But there is collateral damage when we don't do the right thing. Like I said, there's so many good parts to read in this book. I'm not going to talk too much about it. And because it's been published over 12 years now, so you can actually find it. You can order it online, or you can find it in a bookshop around you. So I will ask you to make out time and find this book somewhere and read it. I just gave you an intro into who Balram is, and I hope that when you read this book, you will speak up for the injustice. And if you're an employer, please try to treat your staff right. They are human beings just like you. The worst part of this book, and which is where this young man lost it, is where his employer's wife hit someone on the road. Because he's so poor, the family felt him disposable and decided to pin this crime on him. He was made to sign that he was guilty of a crime he did not commit. And at the end, he goes on to say, what if you were me? What would you do? It's my life for their life. So, like I said, I can't talk about this book too much. I love him so much that I have read all his 3 books. At some point, I'm going to share the other one. So you can see I'm a fan. He has 3 books and I have 2 here already. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, I have this poem that is almost similar to this, but it is Nigerian written. Thank you. See you shortly.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
Okay, welcome back to the Literary Bar. I hope you were drinking along with me. I've just been talking and talking and talking. Do you know that I want you to come here to the studio and sit next to me? So if you're an author, if you have a book that you really like, this is an open invitation. Please join me here. Nothing will give me greater pleasure than to have you here. So now, let's come home to one of the most brilliant minds that we have the privilege of calling our own, Augustus Taiwo in 1994. So this is an honor of his 30th memorial anniversary. I'm going to share this poem with you, May Your Road Be Rough. But before I give you excerpts, I want to tell you, just give you a little backstory. My teacher in secondary school, Mr. George Igelegbai, made us read this long poem because someone had taken umbrage at the sentiments expressed by Tai Solarin in the poem. This poem was originally published 60 years ago on the 1st of January 1964 as a New Year message. But a lot of the people did not pause to read and understand it beyond the first sentence. Now with the hardship that we're all experiencing, I dare to share these wise words filled with subliminal messages to encourage us all. It's a really long poem, but I'll read some excerpts and I hope you'll check it out online and read it thoroughly. May your road be rough. I'm not cursing you. I am wishing you what I wish myself every year. I therefore repeat, may you have a hard time this year. May there be plenty of troubles for you this year. If you're not sure what you should say back, why not just say, same to you. I ask for no more. Our successes are conditioned by the amount of risk we are ready to take. The big fish is never caught in shallow waters. You have to go into the open sea for it. The biggest businessmen make decisions with lightning speed and carry them out with equal celerity. They do not dare delay the assignment. They did. The biggest successes are preceded round our mother. She always woke up at 6 a.m. Round our mother. she always woke up at 6 a.m. She always said prayers on our behalf, but always ended with something like this: may we not enter into any dangers or get into any difficulties today. It took me 30 years to dislodge the cankerworm in our mother's sentiments. I found by hard experience that all that is noble and laudable was to be achieved only through difficulties and trials and tears and dangers. There is no other road. Life, if it's going to be abundant, must have plenty of hills and vales. It must have plenty of sunshine and rough weather. It must be packed with days of danger and apprehension. If therefore you're out this new year, 1964, so let me say 2024, to walk, before it walks will fall down several times. If the baby keeps falling, would we say do not walk? So I'm just saying, with all the turmoil and hardship that we're going through, that things will certainly get better. And it's going to take you and I to make things better for ourselves. 60 years ago, Tai Solarin wrote this. And throughout his life, for as much as I remember him, he was a man who stood for the poor people. He always fought for us in Nigeria. His sentiments were that you must never neglect the poor, but at the same time, he's encouraging us to work hard. Things are not easy. Things are not likely going to be easy all through our lives. But we must look back and say that, what is my contribution? What is my contribution? I know that we're all up against what the government, the corruption, the injustice. But when we look at ourselves, how much are we willing to invest in the work that's been given to us? A lot of people do not feel like doing the right things. They are not ready to work hard. If you look at the people, Olympics is just around the corner. But if you see what the athletes have to go through to win those medals, which you all come together to hail them, it's because their road was rough. If you ask our parents, the money they have in spending, in taking care of us while we went to school, they worked really hard. You ask the farmer knows how it is to toil hard before they bring out the tubers of yam and bags of pepper and tomato. So we know that things are not easy, but all I'm asking you and I is that we introduce some creativity and innovation in how we're living our lives. Don't let's take the easy road in trying to achieve excellence. Excellence comes with sweat, hard work, but the opportunities are there. So I'm asking all of us, while we're going through this hardship, we should not forget our humanity. And it's not only the government. We are the people that make the government. So I dare say to you watching, may your road be rough, because I know that it's only going to get better. After the rough sails, the sea is certainly going to get smoother, and then you'll be able to fish and get the things that you really need. So please, my brothers, my sisters, may your road be rough, because it's going to get better. And wish me the same thing, okay? Someday, when the story of our time here is written, what will your character be like? All through the centuries, with millions of characters that have lived on earth, a few names have abided over the centuries for fame or infamy. The likes of Nelson Mandela, the likes of Awolowo, the likes of Zeke, all of them have been names of people who have stayed here and contributed to mankind. And I hope that your own name will be written amongst the good guys who try to make life a lot easier for us. Thank you for staying with me. I have enjoyed our time together. So please send in your ideas, send in your book picks, and then most of all, I look forward to having you here with me. So for more, please follow us on Facebook, on X, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. You can watch us on DSTV channel 408 and on YouTube. So until next time, make your life a great story. I'm Chinedu.
Gospels and blues informed Alvin Ailey's dance movements. Ailey was raised in poverty by a single mother in segregated Texas. His upbringing informed his choreography, a blend of modern dance and ballet, speaking to the Black experience. Using archival footage, filmmaker Jamila Wignot explores the influences behind Ailey's creative genius in her documentary, Ailey.
I really wanted to come at it in the way that Mr. Ailey came at it, and that was about, let's acknowledge that there is pain and struggle in this story, but let's also look at what are the essential things that keep us going, and where are the strengths, and what is true to the everyday experiences of being in this particular community.
Identity was a strong message. Being able...
I think that's when Mr. Ailey talks about his work being universal.
His dance, entitled Cry, was dedicated to his mother and to motherhood at large.
The Black women who would encourage you, who would be there always, who were so supportive, I mean, that you could not fail.
What he's really trying to access and draw upon are these kind of women who have been the strength of a community, and certainly in his own life, being raised by a single mother for the vast majority of his youth.
Wignot hopes the documentary offers insight into Ailey's inner psyche as a prolific choreographer.
I have a loaded package for you. In the studio with me is Mr. Victor Unduka Uba, yeah. He's the Deputy Managing Director of AfriInvest West Africa. Now, we're going to learn from him two things. One, we're going to find out from his wealth of experience in investment banking, what we need to do in the Nigerian sports industry to attract the sort of investments we need to grow the sports industry in Nigeria. And then also, we're going to be talking to him about his company's role in sports in Nigeria. They already have gotten into the, into the industry in basically getting their hands dirty to try and get the sports industry where it should get to the lofty place it should get to, as shirt sponsors of Nigeria champions Enugu Rangers. Now, sports is big business. We can't say that enough on this program. And what
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
Today
for having me. There are great, exciting things happening there with FIBA and some of the talent that's the basketball teams and the league body itself. So to that extent, especially with respect to the male football league, I think there's been some improvements and there are green shoots there as well. I was following Africa Table Tennis Championships as well.
Okay.
So there's some little, improvements we're beginning to see. But I still think there is quite a lot of...
So it's beginning to look into the industry. It's still sort of passive attention, so to speak, but we're getting something, an investment banking